Every fighter that's under contract, if you want to tell the media what you're paid, that's up to you.
Welcome back to MMA Money. Today we're talking big paychecks and brutal knockouts as we close out 2023 and take a look back at the top 5 highest earning UFC fighters of the year. While this list certainly favors the top pay-per-view earners, there might be a few names that surprise you. So pop open a bottle of champagne or grab a cup of hot chocolate and hit the like button if you enjoy the video. Before I get started, I have to mention this or I'll get harassed in the comments. While some elements of fighter pay are released, all of the totals you'll see in this video are just estimates based on reports and past earnings. Now let's jump in with a couple of honorable mentions, starting with the fan favorite heavyweight Derrick Lewis. While his income won't touch anyone in the organization receiving pay-per-view points, the man has made 6 trips to the octagon over a 2-year span, and that workhorse mentality certainly comes with financial perks. He earns more per fight than just about anyone without a championship belt, and while he lost 2 out of his 3 fights in 2023, he had a pretty decent year financially. He stumbled out of the gate with his first bout in February, falling to Sergey Spivak, but still earned $246,000 on the night. At UFC 291, he returned to form with an exciting flying knee knockout against Marcos Rogerio de Lima that led to the TKO victory, earning him a Performance of the Night bonus and a total of $521,000. And in his final fight of the year and second Fight Night headliner, he lost a lopsided decision to Jailton Almeida, but took home another $251,000, taking his grand total on the year to $1,018,000. The second honorable mention goes to the lightweight contender Bobby King Green. Green is another highly active fighter who's made the octagon walk a whopping 4 times this year, starting in April with his Fight Night bout against Jared Gordon. What was initially called a KO victory for Green was later reversed to a no contest, after it was determined that an accidental clash of heads led to the knockout. Neither fighter would take home a win bonus, and Bobby earned $171,000 for the event. In his second Fight Night at UFC 291, he secured a submission victory against Tony Ferguson, earning a Performance of the Night and taking home $371,000. He then headlined a Fight Night event in October, scoring a knockout victory against Grant Dawson and taking home another Performance of the Night and a total of $381,000. And while Bobby got knocked out in his final fight of the year against Jalen Turner just a few weeks ago, he still earned $181,000 on the night, bringing his 2023 total to $1,104,000. And now on to the top 5 highest earning UFC fighters of the year. As I mentioned earlier, the fighters at the top of the food chain are those earning a percentage of the pay-per-view revenue known as pay-per-view points. While each fighter's contract is different, we have an idea of how much champions and big names can earn from public documents released by the UFC in their ongoing antitrust lawsuit. More information on that in the description, but understand that all estimates will be based on those disclosed payouts and are highly dependent on the actual pay-per-view sales, which are often not officially released. With that said, coming in at number 5 on the list is the current welterweight champion Leon Edwards. Leon closed out his trilogy with Kamaru Usman at UFC 286 in March of this year, which, according to an average of multiple sources online, brought an estimated 550,000 pay-per-view buys for the event. As defending champion, his pay-per-view points earned him around $500,000 for a little over $1 million on the night. And just last week, he defended his belt against Colby Covington at UFC 296. While it may not have been the most exciting fight, the event sold an estimated 600,000 pay-per-views for a $1,142,000 payday, bringing his total for the year to $2,184,000. At number 4, we have the lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. 2023 saw Makhachev take on Alexander Volkanovski twice in UFC 284 and 294. They first met in Perth, Australia in May for a razor-thin 5-round thriller that earned Fight of the Night honors and helped Islam take home just under $1 million. During their second fight in Abu Dhabi in October, Makhachev secured a stunning first-round KO victory that earned Performance of the Night. The event pulled an estimated 650,000 buys, and he took home a total of $1,342,000, bringing his grand total on the year up to $2,334,000. And while the featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski did take the loss in the rematch, he had a financially successful year as well, coming in at number 3 on the list. It was a busy year for Alex in which he headlined 3 events, starting out at UFC 284 with his Fight of the Night against Makhachev, which pulled an estimated 550,000 pay-per-view buys, where he earned over $1.2 million. In July, he dropped back down to featherweight to defend his belt and took on the interim champion Yair Rodriguez at UFC 290 in Las Vegas. Volk finished the fight via TKO in the third round and earned $1,042,000. His second fight with Makhachev in October was intended to be a rematch between Islam and the former lightweight champion Charles Oliveira, but when an injury forced Charles out of the fight, Volk stepped in on short notice. That allowed him to negotiate extra show money for the fight, which was a pay-per-view success, and while he would go on to lose, the event earned him $1.7 million. That brings his total on the year to a whopping $3,969,000. At number 2 is the current heavyweight champion Jon "Bones" Jones. While only competing in one event this year, Jones' cut of the pay-per-view is so insanely high that it's enough to land him as the runner-up on the list. Apart from Conor McGregor, he's most likely the highest-earning fighter on the roster. In his lone fight at UFC 285, he took on Cyril Gane for the vacant heavyweight title and would go on to finish him by submission in the first round. The event pulled an estimated 800,000 pay-per-view buys, netting Jones $3 million in pay-per-view alone, allowing him to edge out Volkanovski for the second spot on the list and take his total for 2023 to a massive $4,082,000. It's safe to say that had he not gotten injured and headlined UFC 295, he would have sat firmly at number 1 on the list. However, that leaves us with only one man that could possibly take the top spot, the former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya. In his highly anticipated rematch with Alex Pereira at UFC 287 in Miami, Florida, he delivered a shocking knockout finish that earned him the Performance of the Night bonus and a total of nearly $3 million. And while he fell to the current middleweight champion Sean Strickland at UFC 293, the event still sold an estimated 650,000 buys and earned Adesanya nearly $2.3 million, taking his grand total for the year to $5,224,000. While these fighters took home some massive paydays this year, it's important to remember that many entry-level UFC contracts still only pay athletes 10 and 10 without accounting for management, gym, and coaches fees, not to mention taxes. It's exciting for fans to see top-tier fighters earn their worth in the world's premier MMA promotion, but with the growth it's seen in recent years, it'd be even better to see the UFC pay a living wage for all fighters on the roster. Maybe next year.